Hello, and welcome to Auto Be Careful, the place for car safety, news, and information. I'm Gene, and today we're going to answer the question, when can you buy a self driving car? Driver assist technology has been a huge topic of interest lately, and most manufacturers include some level of this built into their newest cars. There's a lot of nuance to this topic, so we're going to use the SAE International Standards as a guide for this discussion. This standard sets 6 levels of automation, starting with level 0 and moving all the way up to level 5. Today, we're going to talk about what these levels are, what features are included in each of these levels, and what manufacturers have these features implemented in their cars today. Let's start with level 0. Level 0 encompasses features that provide warnings and momentary assistance to drivers. Warnings include things like blind spot monitoring, lane departure warnings, and cross traffic alerts. Momentary assistance features include things like standard cruise control, automatic emergency braking, and automatic brake hold. With these features, the driver is firmly in control of the vehicle, but these features provide some assistance for safety. Level 1 and Level 2 focus on two specific feature sets: acceleration and braking assistance, and steering assistance. Level 1 includes any vehicle that has one of these two features, while Level 2 includes vehicles that have both of these features. This may sound simple, but there's a lot of nuances between these two, so let's break it down further. Let's start with adaptive cruise control. This feature allows the driver to set a maximum speed for the vehicle, and the vehicle will make adjustments to the speed to ensure it avoids a collision. Typically, this is done by tracking the vehicle directly ahead. Early versions of this feature required a minimum speed in order to stay engaged. If the vehicle went below this speed, it would alert the driver to take control of acceleration and braking and disengage fully. If the driver did not take control of acceleration and braking, the vehicle may intervene to avoid a collision if it had an automatic emergency braking feature also included. However, if it did not, the vehicle may collide with the vehicle ahead if the driver did not stop in time. Most new vehicles sold today with adaptive cruise control will bring the vehicle to a complete stop and resume acceleration as long as the vehicle hasn't been stopped for an extended period of time. One common complaint with adaptive cruise control is that the vehicle won't resume acceleration if it has been stopped for more than a few seconds. This is actually by design. It's important to remember that this feature is designed to assist the driver, and most cars will consider an extended stop to be beyond the capabilities of adaptive cruise control support. Extended stops can quickly lead to a situation where the vehicle will make the wrong move, and therefore it wants to ensure that the driver provides the input to resume acceleration. This ensures that the car remains safe to drive. This input typically involves pressing the accelerator pedal or a button or switch on the steering wheel to tell the car to resume acceleration. Now let's talk about steering assistance features. There are two main features to talk about here: lane keep assist and lane centering. Lane keep assist provides minor steering input to ensure the vehicle stays in its lane. It is important to remember that this is not a guarantee. In many cases, the speed of the vehicle and the curve of the road may lead to a situation where lane keep assist is not sufficient to keep the car in its lane, and the driver must take over control in order to avoid veering off the road. In contrast to this, lane centering ensures that the vehicle stays in the center of its lane. It will provide steering input to ensure that the vehicle not only remain in its lane, but also equal distance from the left and right sides of the lane. In many cases, like extreme curves, it will also work with the adaptive cruise control system in order to ensure that this goal is achieved. It's pretty rare for this system to get overwhelmed, although it still can if the lane lines on the road are not clearly marked. Both lane centering and lane keep assist require that the driver maintain control of the vehicle. Each manufacturer will have its own system to ensure that the driver does this. Some systems simply require the driver to have a hand on the steering wheel. Some will require the driver to provide minor steering inputs, and others will monitor the driver's eyes to ensure the driver is looking ahead. It can be helpful to know how your vehicle is going to monitor the driver, although the most important thing to remember is staying attentive to what's on the road ahead. Before we move on to levels 3, 4, and 5, there are a few additional features that manufacturers often implement in their vehicles for additional support. The first is lane change assist. Lane change assist comes in many cars and typically involves changing lanes automatically without driver input to the steering wheel. There are two forms of lane change assist: driver initiated and vehicle initiated. For driver initiated systems, the driver will begin the process by signaling in the direction of the lane change. The vehicle will then do the steering inputs to complete the lane change, and the driver will need to cancel the signal. In vehicle initiated systems, the vehicle does the signaling as well, so it starts the signal, does the lane change, and cancels the signal. Vehicles with this feature will monitor the adjacent lane to ensure it is clear, but it's important to remember the driver is still in control, so the driver still needs to check their blind spot to make sure that it is clear. Additionally, some vehicles have features that will detect traffic signs and signals. These systems can be as simple as detecting the speed limit on a road and displaying that information for the driver, or as complicated as looking for yield signs, and stop lights and taking the appropriate action. It's important to know if your vehicle has these features so that you can be aware of its limitations. Now let's move on to levels 3, 4, and 5. Levels 3, 4, and 5 have features where the vehicle is in complete control of driving and therefore responsible for any outcome. As of this video, there doesn't appear to be any vehicle available for sale that has any of these levels of driving support available, so these features are a little less well defined. The main differences between these levels is level 3 will do self driving in limited circumstances, but require that the driver take control when requested. Level 4 will do self driving in limited circumstances, but not require the driver take control when requested. And level 5 will do self driving in all circumstances and never require the driver take control. When shopping for a new vehicle, the level of driver assist support available will depend on the manufacturer, the model of the vehicle, and the packages selected. I've compiled a very rough and oversimplified list of what each manufacturer tends to call certain levels of driver assist support. Although it's important to remember that most manufacturers don't align their driver assist naming conventions to levels, so your experience may vary. Also important to remember is that additional features like lane change assist and traffic signal detection aren't included in what makes each package part of a level 1 or level 2 system. If these features are important to you, you'll need to do some additional research to ensure that the package that you want includes the features that you need. The biggest takeaway here is that today most manufacturers have level 2 driver assist enabled. Some manufacturers have not gotten to that level and are only using level 1, and a few are trying to work on level 3 currently, but for the most part, you're going to find level 2. So, can you buy a car today that will drive itself? Not yet, but it's still helpful to have these features. For example, the Insurance Institute of Highway Safety found that lane keep assist reduces the number of certain collisions reported to the police. It can be helpful to have these features when they're used appropriately. So it's important to get familiar with your car's systems and know how they work, and especially their limitations, so that you can get to your destination without an incident. Thanks for watching. I hope you learned something, and remember to like and subscribe.